pitter-patter of little feet. It's fun to be a cat. I've had kind of a lot of stress and anxiety over this song, and I kind of have come to the conclusion that I really don't like most of the melody. So, if you knew me better, you would know how it pains me to have put so much work and effort into something and then to kind of go back to the drawing boards and duplicate that effort. But that's what I want to do, because I just don't like it. These videos are mostly about teaching, mostly about showing you how to do this. So in a way, from a certain point of view, it shouldn't matter, right? There's a real part of me that just wants to be done with this song. It was a labor of love, and I love certain parts of it, but and the process, I imagine, has done its job as best as it could. That is, to show you what it is to sit down and write a song. So I'd really like to just kind of move on, but I just can't. So I'm scrapping the melody for the verses and the chorus. The only melody I decided I like is the bridge. So, and I'm going to get rid of some of the lyrics. This song is too long, and I don't know. I was a little bit too married to this idea of two choruses, or a chorus that morphs into something similar but really conveys a completely different meaning. And I think as I cut some of these lyrics, get rid of some of these lyrics, these choruses are going to resemble each other less. So I kind of already gave myself over to the idea that each chorus is sort of just an extension of the previous verse. With that in mind, there's a lot of it that I can cut, isn't there? So is that the first thing I want to do? Yeah, maybe. Don't even have any blank paper over here. Not really. So I'll be writing on the backs of these notes, or whatever you want to call them. And in my own obsessive compulsive way, I'm taking the old chorus sheet and we're going to make a new, well, we can stick with two choruses. Maybe we should just start with the verse. We already like that. It doesn't really matter. Not going to freak out. Just seriously, duplicated effort just really weighs on me. But okay, so let's start with, where's the other chorus? Not like it matters. Such a long song, isn't it? Okay, we're starting right here. I've got two peas in a pod. She always gives me the nod. I sort of like that, but let's see what else we have. Made for each other. We really love one another. What does that become? Made for some other. See, but if I'm just gonna, I think I'll do these separately. Let's just stick with the first chorus and not worry about how much they resemble each other. Made for each other, I find it a lot that is smart in her. I don't really like that line, but I like sister, friend, lover, and partner. Ooh, so we're gonna have to write some new lyrics? I don't know. What I really like is blister, bender, shover, unconfessed farter. So see, it's optional. I think I'll keep that and not worry that the corresponding two lines does not happen in this first. I guess I'll keep calling it the first chorus. So that's okay, we'll lose that, I guess. So that was easy. Maybe I don't even have to write it down. Maybe I will though, because I don't want to be staring at these notes when I'm trying to come up with a different melody. This is going to be an interesting process. 2 P's in a pod. She always gives me the nod. It's so hard not to have this established melody in my head as I'm writing this down. Gives me the nod. We really love one another. Oops. That's the second part. Made for each other is the first part of that 2-line thing. Okay. That's that. So, the obsessive compulsive says, since I cut the first chorus down from 8 lines into 4 lines, I have to do that on the second chorus. But guess what? When you're creating something, there aren't any rules. You just do whatever you want. It's hard for me to not be obsessive compulsive about that, but that's gonna be my goal. Oh, oops. I labeled that the second chorus. It's actually the first. Just for ease of reference. Okay, so it's, even though I have 2 P's in a pod, she always gives me the nod. I don't really like 1 P has left the pod. I'm left a poor and lonely sod. So that's gone. I guess she was made for some other. She made it way, way too hard to love her. I do like that. She made it way, way too hard to love her. So is this, I referred to this a second ago, is this a case where I write a new line that goes with she made it way, way too hard to love her? Let's come back to that. Disheartening non-starter. See, this is my favorite right here. And this last line, I don't really need, I'm not in love with it. Good riddance to rubbish, cry or laugh, thought she was great, guess I was daft. I don't know, don't need that. So, I guess that resolves it. We're going to stick with this think we have our 4 lines. I said I didn't need to do that, but I guess that's what we're going to do. Is that the unconscious taking over for the conscious? I don't know. It doesn't matter. What about the idea avoid each other? Or do we want to abandon that and just stick with something that rhymes with love her? Yeah. I like avoid each other. See, this could change depending on the kind of the rhythm of the melody I come up with. Way too hard to love her. And then our new line is, best to avoid each other. This isn't one of those amicable breakups. That's a cool word, isn't it? Amicable means friendly. You know that Spanish word, amigo? Amicable, that's where we get that, I think, from the Latin or whatever. So then, my favorite, disheartening. I love that word too. Disheartening, that's disheartening. Disheartening non-starter. I like both those little words or phrases. Non-starter, I think that's kind of a funny phrase. And then we're going to use the word fart still. I just like it. I think it's funny. Blister Bender came up with this to rhyme kind of with that first line, sister, friend. Sister, friend, lover, and partner. We've got blister, bender, shover instead of lover. And instead of partner, we've got unconfessed farter. That's all right. I'm not going to delete all those videos I made trying to, you know, whatever. Blister bender, shover, unconfessed farter. I'm all about the bathroom humor. Okay, so while we're making cuts, are there parts of these verses that are kind of useless since we're just combining each chorus with a verse, and we're going to rewrite the melodies anyway, right? Here's the first verse. I love girl really gets me, want to she lets me. I do like thinking she's wonderful. It See, I cover that down here, perfect in every way. So I do like that. Loves me for me, can't help but adore me. Man, there's a lot of this that I like. So, I told you, music mostly comes at you in groups of 4. I haven't counted these measures, but as far as these lines, we have 8 lines, don't we? Do we have 16 lines? I don't know. We have a nice round multiple of 4 here, so if I cut anything, it's not going to be an even 8 or an even 16 or whatever. But I have to kind of just live with that. I think that's happened in some of these other songs I've written here on these videos, so I guess I gotta just get over that. So I don't think I want that. What's a good line to... Let's see, since this has been our opening line for, it's at least 3 weeks I've been working on this. Since She's Evermore, More Beautiful has been our opening line for all this time, it's really hard to not think of that. As an opening line. Those habits, the way it gets in your ear and your heart and soul, really hard to let go. How about She Loves Me for Me? That's a good opener. But if I'm only going to eliminate one thing, I'd like to eliminate at least 2. Great listener, love kissing her. I like the idea of someone who's a good listener at first, but then gets tired of listening to you, so never listens to you anymore. Do I do anything about that in the second verse? Dumb. Second verse is going to be easier to eliminate stuff. Doesn't listen when I'm talking. So you kind of say both statements. You could say at first, because maybe that's why later on in this relationship you notice that she doesn't listen when I'm talking. The reason you notice that so much is because at first she did. Or at least that's my rationalization, so we'll get rid of that. All right, so our opening line is, she loves me for me. She can't help but adore So maybe the rest we keep in order. Girl really gets me. Want to. She lets me. Man, there's so much tied up in that statement, isn't there? Want to, she lets me. I think so often we try to control each other. You know, we don't just let each other be. We don't really accept each other. Where am I? Great listener, love kissing her. We're not doing that. Ugh, I don't really like that so much either. I want all her moments. Ours are real romance. I just said I'm going to cut more out of that second verse. So let's, you know, bring on the cutting board. Let's get rid of some of this crap. Because to say I want all her moments is also just a different way of saying the same thing, which I say down here, want to be with her every day. I want all her moments. I want to be with her every day. That's repetitive. You know, it's so hard. Because it's literally like having kids. And to now go back and, all right, some of you kids have got to go. Sorry. We'll just leave you by the side of the road. Somebody will come get you. Okay, but I think this is an important, we're going to leave out, I want all her moments, ours are real moments. We're going to romance. We're going to go right to perfect in every way. Want to be with her every day. And we already used she loves me for me. Could also skip this next thing. She's giving and forgiving, was existing, now I'm living. I really like the sentiment of that. We're skipping it. She finishes my sentences. I just think this is a funny thing to say. She finishes my sentences. My sentences. You know how somebody thinks she can finish your sentences, but then she says something different than what you were actually going to say? So to be funny or to give a kind of insincere compliment to whomever is trying to finish your sentences, you might say something like this. I guess that's what I meant to say. I just think that's sort of funny, and it's like I think I said this before, this is sort of a foreshadowing of what's to come, isn't it? Although we're leading off with what was the bridge is now kind of the chorus. Oh, why is that upside down? That seems weird. Is that one upside down? Yeah. I didn't know that. Okay. So now we're going to pair up the second verse. Get out your paring knife because it's time to cut some lines. So far the first verse is going to have 6 stanzas instead of had like 12 or more before, so that's good. We're shortening our song. Trying to sell the idea to myself that this isn't so bad to duplicate effort here. I think so now we've been together a minute. Might not be love now that I'm in it is a good introduction to the second verse. I'm gonna have a hard time cutting that. Easy to let go, she's ever less beautiful. I think that's a real thing that happens if you've ever met someone, even if it's someone you just consider a friend. There's this thing called attraction, and it's not just sexual, it's not just, it's, you know, someone's personality, someone's spirit, someone's character, and you just, oh man, this is awesome hanging out with this person. Well, that attraction either waxes or wanes, I guess you could say. Anyway, I don't want to say too much about that. Because in our case, in this situation, when you first meet somebody, you first meet a girl, she might be so beautiful. We didn't even say anything about her being beautiful in the first verse, so. I guess we just won't say that about her being less beautiful. Anyway, my point is, meet someone, and again, two sides to every story. I'm sure there are women who meet handsome men, but as you get to know this person, the beauty begins to kind of fade or wane. This person seems less and less beautiful. Just the things that are coming out of her mouth and body language and just everything, just her real personality and character. I don't know, let's say lack of a sense of humor, etc. And you begin to go, what? Why did I think she was beautiful? And I think that can happen with any person you meet. You get that first impression, that first attraction, whether it's sexual or not, and get to know this person, and I think I've made my point. Let's move on. She's wonderfully unwonderful, easy to cut. Can't cut this, thinks she's right and wants to show me. No, I don't really care about that line either. Or that. I like all her points are pretty mood, but I don't want to say when she's grumpy it's not cute. We'll see. Why does this verse seem so much longer than the first verse? Those are 8 lines and I cut 8. I think they're the same length, but so since at first glance it's going to be really easy to cut other lines, let's just start writing stuff down. So now we've been together a minute. Oh, let's just stick with it. So now we've been together a minute. Might not be love. Now that I'm in it. Okay, well, we're keeping that, but I'd like to come up with something else for a second stanza. Man, I like a lot of this now that I think about it. So, gone. Yeah, there's so much of this that's personal, and so it makes it a little more painful to cut it. So that's 2 stanzas from the first page that we're keeping. I do like that last thing. So I kind of like this. Just underline it, I guess. I don't know how to parse this up. Might be able to let go of that. Sort of like that too, though. Alright. Her point of view is always changing. How about her arguments? She thinks my life needs rearranging. May have covered this. It's definitely in my song, No More Love Songs, but in relationships, and there are stand-up comedians that have kind of pointed this out too. In relationships, it seems like pretty quickly it becomes the girl's goal to change the guy, where pretty early on the guy becomes frustrated because it seems like the girl is changing and he wants her to stay how she was when they were first together. I think that's a fairly universal thing. So this stanza covers that, doesn't it? In a way. Whatever, I don't want to say too much more about that. So we decided these lines are a little too similar. We've got, thinks she's right and wants to show me. Man, it's really hard to let stuff go. It's really hard to decide which lines are the right ones to keep. Well, I'm going to stick with that, but what's our closing line? Doesn't listen when there's an H in when. Did you know that? I'm talking. How about this instead? I'm game. While she is balking. I like that. So I'm changing things. Changing the lyrics. So the closer, big closer. Not. How do you write an N again? Time to go back to the basics here. Not. That's an N. Not proud to know me. Thinks she's right and wants to show me. Running out of room. Made it. Okay, that's it, right? Are we done rewriting lyric or not? Really, mostly just eliminating certain lyrics. So out of our 2, 4, 7 pages of staff paper that I filled out. Out of 7, we're keeping 1. Yeah, it's a long video already, but what can I say? So where to start? I'm going to start with the first verse, because this first line of the first verse is not the original first line. So my theory is that's going to make it a little bit easier to come up with a new melody. Is that true at all? I don't know. I gotta do everything I can to help it make it seem like, help myself forget that I'm duplicating effort here. You remember that line in the movie The Incredibles where Mr. Incredible says right at the beginning when he and his family are being interviewed, I guess just he and his wife and the rest of the other adult superheroes are being interviewed by news people. He says, man, just when you save the world, everything falls apart again. It needs saving again. It's like laundry or meals or dishes or whatever. The job never is done. So duplicated effort. It's frustrating. So when I do something, I want that something to be done. I don't want to have to go do it again, but I think I've hammered that point home. All right. I've never done this before where I scrap an entire melody and go back to the drawing board. Another weird thing is, for the second verse, the lines are way longer. We've got "She loves me for me." She loves me for me. That's 5 syllables. It changes to, or whatever, on the second verses. So now we've been together a minute. It's twice as many syllables. Rapidly getting overwhelmed. Well, let's at least try. Time passes, perspective changes, smoke clears, truth out from my glasses. See, this is the melody I like, so can we make a melody more related to this for the verses? The rose color fades, I climb out of the love that jades. I already forgot what I just kind of came up with. No, it's too much like that. She loves me for me. She can't help but adore me. What about, instead of just she, this girl? What if I said this new girl? Is that too on the nose? New. Loves me for me. That's in a minor key. Well, this new girl. key. Is that the end of the world? No, it is not. This new girl loves me for me. I'm not sure I have the chord progression right. Okay, just give me a second. It's a lot of silence. I have to get this down before it's gone. Feels like a 5 chord. But it's a minor 5 chord. No. Let's do a flatted 7 chord right there. I don't know. Obviously, it's all up for change. So, again, my best friend Paul asked me to explain how I write melody. And it's not very explicable. I just looked at that line and I added words. I don't know why I added words. What did I have before? She loves me for me. Instead of she, I substituted this new girl. And I'm already kind of in love with it. I hope that love stays. So it's this new girl. 3, 4. This new girl loves me for me. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Well, obviously that can be whatever. I don't have to write that down. You can't help but adore me. That's what I want for the second line. She can't help. Ooh. She she can't help. What was I doing after that? Does anybody know? This new girl loves me for me. There'll be 2 measures between that. She can't help. She can't help. What's the chord over here, though? See, this stuff just pops into my head. But really, it's just completely subjective. Just come up with a... If you go back and... Maybe you've never watched it. There's a little scene in the old musical movie called The Music Man. And he's trying to distract these guys from arresting him. So he pretends that he's noticing that they have musical talent, even though none of them has ever sung before. And he walks up to the guy with a really deep voice and he says, "Ice cream." And the guy just says, "Well, ice cream, I can say it, but I don't sing." And so the Music Man says to him, "Well, singing is just sustained talking. Ice cream," instead of ice cream. Ice cream. And then he gets the other 3 guys. Ice cream, ice cream, ice cream. He gets them to do it all together, and it's this beautiful chord. And then they just spontaneously start to sing. And they go into this, they stop for a second, and he needs to distract them again, so he leads them into this, I guess, for the time, well-known song called Sincere. He just walks up to the one guy whom he's chosen to be the lead singer of this barbershop quartet, and he says, "How can there be?" That's what the music sings to them. And they all pick up on this song that they've heard a million times, but since he showed them how to sing instead of say ice cream, they're now singers. And it turns out, obviously these 4 guys are played by an extremely famous barbershop quartet from that time when that movie was filmed. And it's just hilarious. So that's what we're doing when we're writing a melody. Slow down your talking and sustain each bit of noise that's coming out of your mouth as you're talking, and change. Maybe it's a little higher, maybe it's a little lower. Change the rhythm of what you're saying into something kind of musical. And do this in your head, or you can, like I said, you can get out a guitar and strum one note on the guitar and try to come up with a melody to sing the words you've come up with that goes with that, just that one bass note on your guitar or on a piano. That's how you write melody. I don't know how to help you beyond that. I'll continually try to be more articulate and eloquent about that, but it's not easy. That was really risky to lose my train of thought, but I think I got it. Is that what it is? I think that's where I screwed up right there, is that's an F, not a G. That's why I was thinking the 4 chord. Make this a major right here. It's funny. Oh, it's not easy. 1 and 2 and. Oh. It's not time. Sorry. Two, three, four. This new girl loves me for me. She can't help but adore me. Adore is spelled with an O, not an A. I mean, it's exhausting, but I kind of want to continue. Glad I got that. Really, really gets me. I think that's a dotted quarter note. Really, really gets me. It's like a half note, but it's in the wrong place, but that's okay. Really, those are all half notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So this becomes this. This is this. Oh, sorry. I just sang it to you, so you know how it goes. Guess you can play it back if you missed it. Gets me. Just one more line after that. Really, really gets me. That's kind of weird, but that's what popped in. That's what came for a visit, and I allowed it to stay long enough to find out what it wanted and write it down. Does that help you at all? Not bloody likely. Okay. Very hard to explain. Oh, chords. That's how it feels. Let's just write it down and then we'll see if it works. So I have the chords for the last line of melody, but go up to that G. That'll be fun, won't it? Yeah, that's right. I don't know, I'm kind of in love with this. Okay. Okay. So a lot of silence here, I know. This whole thing. So if I can read it off the page and remember it and etc., I'm going to sing my melody to you. And then, like, as we've done before, we'll fit these last 4 lines of this verse. I don't know about the chorus parts. Worry about that another day. One, two, three, four. This new girl loves me for me. She can't help but adore me. Is that right? rest is that 1 and 2 and just want to write it in so I have it. She can't help but adore me. Really, is that right? Really, really gets me. So it's 1, 2, 3. No, it's not. 1, 2, 3. Really, really gets me when I want to. She lets me. Is that right? 3, 4. When I want to, she lets me. That's the whole thing. It's minor. And it's not just 3 chords. So I'm going to go ahead and count this minor 5 chord. The 5 chord's always major. It's really weird. Well, maybe I'll change it as I get into it with my guitar, but so we've got the 2 5 chords, that's 2 chords. We've obviously got a 1 chord, that's 3. We've got a 4 chord, that's 4. And then we have this flatted 6 and 7 chords, which, whatever. That's 6 chords. It's a lot of chords. It's supposed to be keeping it simple, but also I think you have to create something that you love. I think in the name of keeping it simple, I kind of phoned something in that I thought would be good enough, because, you know, who cares? I'm teaching you guys, showing you guys how easy it is to write music. But I just didn't like what I came out. I don't know how to explain it. Draw your own conclusions. That's how I explain it. How about that? That's about it for now. I feel really good about that new melody. That real glow inside. That tingly sense of inner joy. And that's very important. What else is there to say? Anything? We're at an hour and 15 minutes, for Pete's sake. And a lot of that was silent. Do you want to see? Does anybody care? Here's what I wrote today. For those of you attempting these things at home. But it just kind of popped into my head. I don't know. I thought it was going to be a lot harder than that. But, and it's still work. It's such a weird balance. It's a million times more fun to have the camera on, so I'm performing this work for you guys, the work of writing a song, the work of teaching how to write a song. That's what makes it fun, but also there's the element of, wow, it's so cool to create something, to come up with something. And especially now, something I really love. Did I love the other melody at first? And the idea of novelty is what wore off. It was fun when it was new, and the more I worked on that song, the more I was like, I don't like this melody anymore. Is that what happened? And could that potentially happen with what I just wrote? I don't know. I don't know. It's so funny how much of this is just subjective, how much of it is just nebulous. It depends on your attitude, right? But I think before all that practicing, I've tried to explain the idea of how much of this is work and how much of it is just a joy, a joyous activity, fun. Let's just say fun. Work versus fun. And mostly it's fun since I have the camera on, because I like to perform. I like to be in front of people and I get to talk and they just listen. I love that. There are a lot of us out there that love that. Except for some people are more afraid to do that than they are of death. Public speaking, people are afraid of it. I'm not. So there's the element of fun, there's the element of work. And I think with that other melody that I kind of just pulled a rabbit out of my hat without really doing it like I normally do it, I think the scale gradually began to tip towards work. It's really a lot of work, and the fun is not so much, right? It's, you've heard the saying, oh, this feels way too much like work. That's how it began to be with me, I think, and it was, I'm going to leave that performance of the final version of that other melody on there, but I think you can kind of see how tired I am. I mean, I'm tired anyway. Not exactly the most high energy guy, but anyway, maybe the lesson in all of this is, if you hate your job, find another job. Because there needs to be some element of fun in it. It's important that things be a challenge, right? You can't just sit around and watch TV all the time. But creating things, I think, is very important. But any task that you undertake, if it, especially your daily job, you're going to spend 8 hours a day doing, if you absolutely hate it, maybe you can't quit it. Maybe, you know. But if there's any way, find something you do on the side that can grow into your full-time day gig. I guess is the lesson. All right, I'm just kind of rambling now. So we'll come back next time and continue. We'll decide if we're going to do a little different melody for the choruses, or if we're just gonna, we'll just see how it goes. But I absolutely love what I wrote today. And I think this is the beginning of kind of a new, musically at least, a new song that's going to be a lot better than the old version. So, all right, I look forward to the next time.